When it comes to the 40K universe, we are used to the grim realities of war. The fate of the Imperial Forest world Tanith is just another example of the harsh realities of life for those living in the Imperium. Tanith was formerly a heavily forested Imperial Forest world, Frontier world and Feudal world located in the Sabbat world sector, a cluster of planets in the Segmentum Pacificus that was under constant assault by the forces of chaos. During the Sabbat World's crusade, following the death of the Warmaster Slado, a splinter Chaos Warfleet slipped past the picket fleet set up by the Imperial Navy due to the newly appointed Warmaster Makaroth's change of tactics. This small Chaos fleet attacked and destroyed 6 worlds, one of which was Tanith. The Chaos Armada bombarded Tanith from orbit, and deployed ground troops to kill whatever the heavy orbital guns had missed. The forests of Tanith burned to ash under the crippling firepower of the Chaos fleet. Prior to the planet's destruction, Tanith had a spotless record for supplying its knowledge for the Imperial Tithe. However, there were rumors that the planet was touched by chaos. Due to its destruction, much of the earliest history of Tanith has been lost to Imperial records, but fragmented accounts still exist, so we can start to paint a picture of what life was like for the people of Tanith. Research indicates that the initial settlers of Tanith belonged to a human gene stock branch called the Magmeta, an ethnic strand with multiple genomic markers suggesting it originated from the Terran regions of Albia and Europa. The Tanith people were pale-skinned and dark-haired, with a lilting, sing-song accent when they spoke their dialect of Low Gothic. Most Tanith men were tattooed with blue ink from the time of their youth. No female Tanith are mentioned in detail, and it is presumed that none made it off-world. Many Tanith names begin with MK, a variant of MC, or Mac, used by the Irish and Scottish people of Old Earth, from whom inspiration for the Tanith culture appears to have been drawn. Upon Tanith resided ancient Tanith tree god Feth, a supernatural spirit that is believed to have possessed the Nal wood trees on the planet Tanith, allowing them to move their position, essentially rearranging the labyrinth of paths in the forest. Records show that most old Tanith families baptize and officially name their children at the age of 8 Terran years, as naming children at birth was considered premature and a child would grow into the names he or she would need. It is also known that the planet was home to democratically governed Tanith city-states, each of which had its own militia, from which a number of members were later drafted into the Astra Militarum. Originally, there were 3 Tanith regiments raised for the Astra Militarum from that forest world in the 10th standard year of the Sabbat World's crusade, the Tanith 1st, 2nd and 3rd, 6,000 troops and a small number of vehicles and artillery pieces. The majority of the troops who joined were Tanith militiamen, although some former criminals were present. These 3 regiments were assigned to the highly experienced Colonel Commissar Ibram Gaunt, who was initially not impressed, describing him as a scrawny, scruffy mob of soft-voiced woodsmen. His opinion of them changed quickly after seeing them in combat. It is not clear if Tanith had any functioning planetary defense artillery batteries, or if the Tanith militia was able to fight back against the Chaos Splinter fleet that swept through the subsector. Soon after Gaunt's arrival did the Chaos attack begin. Gaunt decided to abandon the world, trying to salvage as many fighting troops in the process instead of wasting them all in a heroic but impossible effort to hold Tanith. The regiments were hastily loaded onto troop transports and shuttled to carrier ships in orbit, but the Chaos attack occurred earlier than predicted. Gaunt survived, being one of the last members of the regiment to make it off-planet, and he reorganized the survivors into a single infantry regiment, the Tanith 1st, soon also known as the 1st and Only. Although the vast majority of the heavy equipment, along with the regiment's entire officer corps, was lost when the forces of chaos made planetfall. While the plant itself has been almost forgotten by many, its small band of soldiers have earned the Tanith people a strong reputation after a number of actions during the Sabbat World's crusade. On the regiment's first battlefield on the world of Blackshard, the Tanith guardsman, Mad, Lane Larkin coined the nickname, Gaunt's Ghosts. The use of the nickname, Ghosts, had a dual meaning. The first is that Gaunt's decision to abandon Tanith which made ghosts of the regiment, the second is that because of their exceptional stealth and scouting skills, the regiment's troops were ghost-like on the battlefield. During the crusade, the Ghosts' expertise in covert operations was instrumental in the liberation of a number of worlds. However, rivalries with other, more illustrious Astra Militarum regiments, in particular, the Jantine Patricians and the Volpone Bluebloods, often put the Ghosts at risk. After Tanith was destroyed by the attack of the Chaos Warfleet, the Tanith 1st and Only had no home world from which to draw new recruits to replace losses. Instead, new ghosts were adopted into the regiment from liberated worlds as the crusade progressed. With Tanith gone, the troops of the Tanith First are essentially all that remains of their homeworld. Fortunately for the Imperium, they are unparalleled scouts, marksmen, masters of stealth tactics, and excellent light infantry, and are said to possess an unerring sense of direction, traits developed for survival on a planet where the forests actually move to conceal the path taken. A fitting legacy for a forest world with a spotless record.